Hello and welcome to Everything Considered podcast with me, your host, April. I'm an insatiably curious person that loves to consider everything. Everyone I meet in this life is my teacher. Sometimes those lessons are blessings. Other times they challenge me and help me to grow. It's a win-win no matter what. My goal as a host is to provide a gentle space of honest consideration, communication, and respect for all, as everything's considered. Welcome to the show. Hello, I'm so excited. I am here with Rachel Murrell. Is it Murrell or Murrell?
You said it perfectly the first time.
Okay, Murrell. I'm so happy to have you here. I've been wanting to sit down with you for a long time and find out more about you. You are a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher. You teach nutrition. You teach about water, essential oils, holistic living, conscious parenting. The mind goes on, or the mind things just goes on and on and on. There's just a lot that you know, and there's a lot that you do. But first, before we get into all that, I'd like to know a little bit about you. So could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Thank you, April, for sharing the space with me and allowing me to share a little bit more about me and my gifts. So, where shall I start? As a young child and a young girl, I was always connected to the earth and to nature. And, my friends would tease me and just be like, oh, Rachel, she loves to eat grass, and things like that. Because I love vegetables. I always loved healthy foods and was always drawn to healthy foods. Even as a little girl, like at family reunions, aunts and uncles would be like, you're going to eat all those vegetables? And I'm like, heck yeah. Wow. However, I did love all of the junk too. I was a typical teenager, ate lots of pizza, ate lots of fast foods. And, looking back now in the past, I can see how all of those foods always made me feel like crap. Like I just remember, and kind of blending the past and the present in right now, I can see how that overindulgence or that need to constantly fill myself to feel satisfied from other foods that weren't wholesome has truly transformed me and blossomed me into the woman and the teacher I am today. Wow. And knowing now that then, like I said, I was trying to fill myself with things to make me feel whole, instead of insourcing and going straight to source to fill all of those missing pieces, or just to go straight to myself and feel myself in my complete wholeness.
Right.
And I feel comfortable sharing this now just because I know all of the healing that I've done, and it's no longer in my DNA or even in my mind at all. And even as a teenager, a lot of my friends, we had eating disorders, we had eating misconceptions, and body dysmorphia. And I know now how deeply rooted that need to satisfy myself was embedded in my tissues, in my nervous system, and in my muscles. And so growing from that, I had children very young, which is a complete and miraculous blessing. And it actually, I feel like, truly catapulted my spirituality at such a young age too.
Wow.
So at 19, I birthed, I had a human in my portal. And I birthed this human at 20. And then again at 21, got pregnant, and 21 or 22, I had my second son. And after becoming a mother, my connection with food started to grow even more, started to really look at what I was putting in my body and what I was putting in my children's body.
Right. Yeah, that is a whole other responsibility. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So from there, I grew up in the gym because my dad was always in the gym. And so after that, I really started to cut out all white stuff, like all breads, sour cream, dairy, cheeses, and sugar. Just decided to go on my journey with releasing those things. And so I got in the gym. I was working out all the time. I would kill myself in the gym. And then on the weekends, I would call it like junk food days, where I would just go and indulge on all of the junk foods that I didn't eat during the week. 'Cause, you're treating yourself, which was terrible. It's a terrible mindset. It's not healthy at all. It's kind of canceling out the hard work that I did do, and the hard work that I was doing was even harming my body at the time.
Right. You were overdoing it.
Yeah, completely. Completely. And there was this sense of, I had to work hard in order to get what I wanted out of life. And that was my mindset for a very long time. And during this time, a few years later, I went through a divorce. And from that, I feel like that truly birthed my first awakening. And I met myself, I feel like, for the first time then, and I started working like 3 jobs, and I was going to school and raising my children. And on top of that, I felt like I needed to be the perfect mom, everything was organic, no candy. I was volunteering at their school like 4 times a week. I cultivated the garden club at the boys' elementary school. We would walk to school, walk home. Like, I was like, look at me, I'm doing all this good stuff. However, at about age 26, my body shut down, completely shut down. I was in bed for like a week. I couldn't move. I couldn't function. I didn't know what was going on with me. And at this time, I was highly addicted to stimulants. Anything caffeine, energy drinks. I was trying to get the cleanest energy drinks I could get, which are still crap, full of caffeine. Caffeine and sugar are complete toxins and wreak havoc on our nervous system. And so from there, like, I've been practicing yoga with the yoga that's in the gym. However, from when my body shut down, I started to explore and study yoga through books and online and little mini courses. And at this time, I was also a certified personal trainer.
Oh, wow.
And I started, the chakras just spoke to me. So I really started doing like chakra affirmations, learning about chakra stones. And it was really cool learning about the chakra stones, because I started to see, like, oh my gosh, when I was a little girl, I was so connected to like tiger's eye. And tiger's eye is the root or sacral chakra, one of those. And I'm like, oh, wow, no wonder, but I always loved collecting like little stones and gems as a little girl. And now as an adult, it's really cool to see how, like, I use those and share that with them, with people. So I met yoga met me, we found each other, and just started to really co-create together. Even deeper, my spirituality started to understand the importance and the value of resting and relaxing and replenishing and restoring the body. So my mindset shifted, and I started sharing yoga and chakra information. And around this time is when I met essential oils as well. So it was this really beautiful marrying of this wisdom, and I started to share it with a lot of my clients, and the clients who were coming to me were really open to this wisdom too. And during that time in the gym, because I started learning more and more about nutrition, more about non-GMO and organic foods, and around this time, I studied with a holistic practitioner too, and I gained a lot of wisdom about nutrition as well. And from there, I developed a nutrition program at the gym, and we would have nutrition classes on like the group fitness schedule. And at the time, it wasn't necessarily very popular. And also my mentality at that time was, oh my gosh, I know all of this stuff. I just have to word vomit it out to everybody. Like everybody has to know, which is not what a projector, that's not the best thing for a projector to do. So I was literally seeking, I was in sales too. So I was seeking, cold calling. I had a good team member who believed in me, and he would bring people in, and I would share this, and people would buy a, nutrition package and everything. I had some really good results with my clients through nutrition and yoga and all of that. However, there was still like this unworthiness within inside of me that wasn't truly embodying and knowing that what I had to share was a gift.
Right.
And knowing that people truly were ready to receive my wisdom too. So it was like a weird energetic thing with people where it came across maybe with some people like as, I think people thought that I was judging them when actually it was my reflection of my own judgment, judging myself.
Right.
So lots of people, if they missed their nutrition appointment or something and they would see me in the gym, they would either run in the opposite direction or they would come up to me and just start like confessing, like, oh my gosh, I did this and I did that. And truly in my heart, I was like holding space and compassion. And during that time, I still was learning the role of releasing the overindulgence of food and releasing the need to treat myself with these toxic foods type of thing.
Right.
And then there was a point where I hadn't eaten any fast food for a very long time, like maybe months or close to a year. And I remember eating fast food and my mental state just shifted, like criticism, negative mind, grumpy, like short, like I was so aware of how it was affecting me. And after that, I was like, we're done. Me and you fast food. Like we're not doing, we're breaking up. We're not doing this
into this.
Yeah. And, from there, so I was in nursing school and I decided that nursing school wasn't for me. Again, I was still in this perfectionist mentality. I was a straight A nursing student, and it is very stressful to be a straight A nursing student when you're working multiple jobs and have 2 children you're taking care of. Like even when you don't have those things, it's very difficult to be a straight A nursing student.
Yes, it is.
So I released that. And I got my certificate through that. I got my medical assisting certification and my phlebotomy certification. Okay. So I could do blood draws and be a lab tech and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I found my first job in a holistic doctor's office, which was so beautiful, so enlightening. The people there were beautiful. However, I was still in that, like, I have to prove myself. I have to work super hard. And I was giving my power away constantly to people around me, trying to prove like, oh, I came up with this new program. Oh, I discovered this. Oh, look what I can do. Look what I can do. Yeah. And looking back, it was just because I was trying to satisfy like a parent wound, like, look at me, Dad. Aren't I awesome? And so I wound up leaving the holistic field because I had a voice in my head, hearing my parents say, you need a real job. You need to have benefits and a 401k and paid time
Oh
off.
boy.
And
Yeah.
so I had a traditional doctor's office come after me multiple times asking me to work for them, and I kept saying no. And they kind of honeymooned me into the position. So I started working there. I was able to share yoga at the doctor's office. I was able to have some essential oil classes there.
Wow.
I would close up the doctor's office sometimes and smudge like the whole doctor's office,
Good idea.
Yeah. And I was even able to see patients, and it was so cool. Like I could do an intake on them, get their vitals, and go through a holistic evaluation and even prescribe essential oil supplements. And there was even a way like to send it to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy could even prescribe certain things that I recommended. The doctors didn't like that, even though they told me I could. They didn't like that. They heard me like mention chiropractic to somebody, and they were like, chiropractic kills people. And I was like,
what?
Do you know what you do?
Right.
With your medicine? Like,
yeah.
Okay. So long story short, that did not work out. Thank God. Because that probably sent me into my worst. I have mental health issues on both sides of my family, suicide on both sides of my family, depression, anxiety, like it's thick. And I never thought that I was affected by any of those things until like my early 30s. That's when for me, all of the things that I felt like didn't hurt me as a little girl, I wasn't affected by that. I'm strong, I'm good, I'm positive, started to surface in my early 30s, which that's when I decided to go to yoga teacher training. Was right before I actually started the traditional doctor's office job. And so I'm going through my yoga teacher training. And at the time I was stuck in that terrible job. All of these things are surfacing. I'm still holding on to certain things that are not serving me in my life, like caffeine, still certain stimulants just to keep me going, because I got to go still. Right. But still that softness was needing me. So it was kind of like this tug of war for a few years. And I was without a job for almost a year. And raising two children, and my dad was helping me, thank God, pay rent. However, it was the darkest time of my life. And my children honestly saved my life at that point, and my body was in so much pain because I was in so much turmoil mentally, because I knew I was meant to share my spirit and my wisdom and to share holistic living with people. However, in my life at that time, there's nobody encouraging that, nobody supporting that, saying, yes, like we will help you, we'll help cultivate this wisdom. And so I think a little bit after that is when I found Donna and the tribe. It wasn't long after that. I can't remember if it was before or after. I also worked, I was without a job, and then I did find a job with a organic food delivery company in sales.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was actually right after my 500-hour yoga teacher training, I got this job. It was really cool. And I was like, oh yeah, this is good. This is still serving people, educating people. Like and in my mind, I'm like, if I can't bring organic food into people's homes, then what am I doing in life?
Right.
I didn't sell a single thing.
Oh.
I was horrible because, again, I was cold calling. I was going out. I wasn't waiting for the invitation, having people ask me questions. And it was, so after that, that's when I started at Sea Glass, I believe. And I started sharing yoga there and everything. And there still was a resistance inside of me to completely embody that, because I had in the back of my mind, I have to work hard. I have to meet all these people. I have to do all of these things. And in my mind, like, I should have my own holistic facility. I should be doing this on my own type of thing.
Should. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There was still some criticism and just not accepting and completely loving myself. And through that, I'm eating really well. I was practicing yoga all the time. I was sharing. And from there, a lot of beautiful yoga opportunities came in. And then I'm trying to think, I'm sure I had lots of different awakenings and realizations through that whole process. And at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, that's when I met the living water. And my brother Kevin, my spirit brother Kevin. I just remember I was on Facebook one day and I saw where one of my best friends had commented on something that he had shared. It was something like that. And I went scrolling through his feed, and he was sharing all of this wisdom about organic and non-GMO food, veganism, living water, and all this abundance. And I was like, yeah, this is my person. Like,
up your alley.
Yeah, I need to know him. So I just reached out, and then we just started chatting. He told me about the living water. He shared some water with me. And the moment I drank the water, I was like, I have to have this. Like, this needs to be in my life. This has got to be in my home. And it made my brain tingle. It made me feel hydrated.
Right.
And
this is the Kangen water.
Yes, the Kangen water. Yes.
Wonderful.
And from there, he was moving to Mexico. And so he shared probably like 5 or 6 gallons with me before he left. And I was drinking a gallon every day. And I was going through just a little bit of detox symptoms.
Sure.
I had a little bit of a headache, a little bit of achy joints, nothing terrible or unbearable, just for a few days. And after that, I just began to feel more like myself. I noticed my thought process and my consciousness was just shifting into a mentality that I have only briefly explored in the past.
Okay.
And then from there, that week went by, and I called him and I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to pay for my machine. I don't even know how this money is going to continue to come in. However, I know and I trust that it is, because I just know that it makes me feel this good and God wants me to feel this good. So let's do it type of thing.
Right.
And from there, I got my machine, and I think that's around the time where like the stimulus checks were coming out. I applied for one of those like disaster loans and got a large amount of money in. And this was the most money that I've ever had at one time in my account. And I was like, well, I guess this is how I'm going to take care of myself, because that is when COVID hit. And it's so interesting. COVID hit and I had the most money that I've ever had. And I was without it, yoga was like not happening at that point.
Right. Yeah.
And so I just, that whole year, just was hydrating. And I also, it's like, soon as, I can't remember which happened first. It was probably right around the same time with meeting the living water and discovering and living in alignment with my own cyclical nature as a woman. And, and so it was just really cool how I was able to nurture that, rest on day one when I started menstruation, and then slowly allow myself to gradually flow through all of those seasons. And then just learning more about how water holds memory. And as I'm just staying more and more hydrated, connecting to the water community. And it's like the water started to hydrate so many dehydrated traumas that were stuck in my body.
Okay.
And from there, the water would go in, sweep it up, and I would look at it, and then it was like, the more I became hydrated, the more and more that all of the things were not serving me could easily float by, opposed to when I would see them in the past, it's like I had to be stuck in it for a little bit longer. I had to, my ego was like, yep, we're going to keep going through this because I want to be right. I want to show you, that you're not worthy. I want to show you have to struggle. And so there became a point where all of the ego stuff just started to become a whisper, and what started to truly unfold and blossom was my Christ consciousness, my truest, fullest self. And it's like, it's so simple, but living water truly washes away all of the dirt, all of the stagnancy, all the way into the deepest nooks and crannies of our bodies.
Wow.
And from there, my consciousness becomes hydrated. I started learning about conscious hydrated language, releasing certain words like can't and want and should and could, and started saying, I know, I claim, I choose, my outcome is, I embody, and releasing that narrative of the past. And it's like, as soon as I started to speak in the present moment, in the now moment, which is all we have.
That's right.
The tribe, the Hopi tribe, I believe it is, like, they only have present tense words.
I've heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah. They only speak in the now. And it's so important that we do that. And what we speak, we be. Like, it's so powerful. And I started to see that. Like, I would say certain things, and like the next moment, literally that would happen. And so I started to just like be like, ooh, all right, let's practice this. Let's cultivate our magic with our words.
That's right.
And then from there, I just started. So where I am currently, within the past few months, really cultivating and learning more about sacred ceremony and ritual, and truly embodying and walking in the priestess path. And that's where I'm truly called to serve and to embody the wisdom of source, and then share that love with others.
Yes.
And I've recently started practicing with sacred hape. It's ground. It's ash of certain tobaccos and other plants, and it's snuffed up the nose. And the first time I practiced with hape was last July when I was at a water reunion with my water business. And the water also hydrated my business.
Wow.
So instead of like feeling like no one, there's, Noonan is this way. Nobody really wants this wisdom yet. Nobody is ready. I'm too woo-woo for these people.
Right.
I started saying things like, yes, there's so many people out there who are calling in the wisdom and my gifts that I have to share. People are open to my wisdom and my abundance that I share. People are choosing to resonate with my wisdom, which is truly only their wisdom. It's nothing.
We just serve as mirrors, right?
Yeah. So that's how the water too, like, hydrated my business. Instead of coming from like this lack and scarcity, like, oh my gosh, I only have one client, I need to get 10 more right now. I would just start saying, all right, I'm choosing to receive 5 more clients this month who choose to receive health as wealth. And
it's good.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
really good.
yeah. So Hape, I met last year and sat with Hape. And my first experience was so powerful. It's so grounding. It's
Mm,
like it took anything that was scattering and it just like and dove me into the earth. The
wow.
first experience was quite jolting.
Mhm.
My crown chakra activated immediately, and I had a slight crown ache for a few
Mhm.
days. I did purge a little bit, and
Mhm.
that's kind of typical on your first experience. However, the precise focus and presence it brought to my life was so powerful.
Mm,
And then, so, that was in July. And then I was in other ceremony a few months ago and practiced with Hape again. And then I really felt called over the past few weeks to get my own Hape, to get
mhm.
my own Karupe, which is the device that goes how you serve the Hape. And so
Mhm.
I've been sitting with Hape now consistently for about a week.
Wow.
Um, and it's been really powerful, really, really powerful for me.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's really great.
yeah.
So,
So,
so, so tell me more about the water because I'm not sure people. I've been drinking Kangen water for I think 15 years now, maybe
right,
longer.
right.
I'm real familiar with it, but I don't know that a lot of people know about it. Can you
Mm.
explain what it is and where it came from?
Yeah, so Kangen for me means return to origin, and
Okay.
it's made in Japan.
Mhm.
And Japan has the highest standards of equipment that can be made, essentially.
Mhm.
And the Kangen machine is a certified medical grade device, and it
Mhm.
has a certification, and that again is one of the hardest certifications to achieve.
Right.
Um, it is a water ionizer
Okay.
opposed to a water filtration system.
Okay.
It does come with a filter if you choose to have an additional filter as well.
Mhm.
And so there are 8 titanium metal plates in the machine, and they are
Okay.
solid titanium. They're not just coated, like they're solid titanium.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'll pause right there for a moment on the machine. Water is meant to be in nature,
Mhm.
swirling and vortexing in the elements, being electrified through the lightning, having the thunder vibrate it, having the ions from the earth penetrate the water.
Correct. Yes.
And the parallel that I start after learning more about the water, because I was always about the food, like, seeing how they treated our animals, the toxins they put in our food, how they're poisoning us, like the monopoly, all of that, those things. It's like all of that started to reveal itself. They're doing the same thing to water.
Mhm.
They, companies have gone to springs, guzzled up the water out of people's homes, out of their backyards,
Mm.
stole it from them, took
Mhm.
it to their plant, their
Mhm.
manufacturing plant, put it in plastic,
Right.
and then
Which is
sold
the
it to
worst.
us.
Yeah.
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 And they put chemicals in our water, just like they put chemicals in our food to preserve it,
Right.
you know, and to falsely advertise the water as well as alkaline water. And there is a
Mhm.
complete difference between alkalined and
Mm.
alkalized.
Okay.
2 different things. The
Okay.
alkalined is chemically altered
Okay.
with some type of baking soda, but not a good baking soda, like a very chemical changed baking soda and all sorts of other things.
Mhm.
And alkalized water is electrified water,
Right.
which
Ionized, right?
ionized,
Okay.
ionized. Yes, which brings me back to the machine.
Okay.
And that's what the plates in the Kangen machine do. They electrify the water, which
Mhm.
ionizes the water,
Mhm.
which I'm learning more about how this turns the water into structured water. So there's H2O, which we grew up learning about water.
Right.
However, did we ever hear about H3O2?
No.
Where there are 3 hydrogens in there,
Okay.
and it makes a hexagon shape.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
And this is called structured water. And this structured water is naturally in nature, like in the cleanest, purest waters, like in the blue zones and the probably glaciers in Antarctica, like the purest waters, like not in the creek in my backyard.
Right. Right. Not in the Chattahoochee.
Or the Chattahoochee.
Right.
Correct. So, and what Dr. Masaru Emoto has discovered about this structured water is all water holds frequency.
Yes.
This could be the frequency of the toxins that the water was just in, and it's going to hold the memory of that, and it's going to be murky and distorted.
Right.
Or and even if it's not completely structured water, like I said, it holds resonance and frequency. Maybe not very well, you know, and maybe not at all.
Right.
So the structured living water holds the purest, strongest bonds, frequencies. And so when we speak into the water, when we say, thank you, I love you, bless my vessel, and we drink the water, that structured water is going into my body and resonating as such.
Wow.
Yes. And so Dr. Masaru Emoto has been doing studies on structured water and living water and speaking into water. And he actually, you know, took the photos of the crystals of how to speak into water. And he did photos of like dirty, polluted water, and it didn't hold any type of crystals. And then he did like regular tap water, and it would hold some crystals, you know.
Right.
And any water, which is filtered water, anything, when you speak positively, it's going to hold a beautiful crystal. When you speak negatively into the water, it's going to be a very distorted, ugly crystal type of thing.
Right. Right.
And he's done lots of studies on popes, like blessing the water, before and after pictures of that too. He's done photos of before and after of people praying around water. And so the more I'm learning about structured water and how it holds frequency, the more how it makes so much sense, the whole topic of we are star stuff.
Yes.
Right? Like all of the minerals, like phosphorus, magnesium, all of those were out in the stars and are still here on Earth.
Right.
And how we are able to be in human form is all of those minerals, you know, make up our bones and our muscles. However, without water, those things wouldn't hydrate and become alive.
Right. Right.
So through the water, those things are able to come activated and to form our vessel for the waters to flow inside of us.
Right.
And it's just been so silly, but so sweet to truly realize that my body is the temple of the holy water.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, it's so cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, we are pretty miraculous creatures.
Yeah.
We are miraculous creatures.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So basically, clients can come to you and ask about the water, and you can explain it to them. And if they're interested in purchasing one of these machines, they can purchase it from you. That's exciting.
So how that usually goes is because the water wakes you up in its own unique way, because everybody is different. Same with
Sure.
food.
Yeah.
Food speaks to everybody differently. Water speaks to us differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so with my clients, how it usually happens is, I meet with my client, I have my big blue bottle, and they're like, so I saw you said something about living water. What is that? Is that what's in your bottle? Or sometimes I don't even necessarily say anything about living water. And after a few sessions, they're like, what's in that bottle? And then I start sharing with them like what the water is. And maybe the next few sessions are like, can I try some of that water? And I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
So I share with them some water. And then from there, some people feel called to purchase a machine. Some people want to keep drinking the water. And then I just hear feedback from them on how the water is resonating with them. And people always want to exchange something for the water.
Sure.
Nobody wants anything for free, because then they feel like there's a hidden agenda or whatever. So
Right.
how I allow that exchange to happen, I just say, what would you like to offer for the water? What is it that you want to exchange for the water? And so they put their own price on it. I never put a price on it.
Okay.
And so we exchange that way until that it aligns for them to have the living water in their home.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so for yoga, do you do like private one-on-one consultations for people?
Mm-hmm.
Is that do you teach classes as well? Is that correct?
Yeah. So my home studio is Blue Lotus, where I
Okay.
share yoga there. And then I have a free class that I offer at Ashley Park once a month, for about 4 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then since October, I've been sharing a free yoga class out at the Avenue every Thursday, which has been beautiful and a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And then as my business, Holistic Elements, I go to clients' homes and share yoga with them there. And the first step is we have a holistic consultation. And I just go over their relationship with themselves, with spirituality, with their body, with food. I get to know their goals and how they want yoga to serve them. Mm-hmm. And I go over a physical analysis with them. I go over certain postures. I give them breathing techniques when we meet. Go over their, if they have any anxiety or any depression, and just kind of really get to know them so I can formulate a really good practice based on their needs. And yeah. Wow. And then from there, I develop their program.
You are very thorough, and you're looking at your clients in terms of the whole person.
Yes.
And this is what's meant by holistic wellness, holistic.
Yes.
That word, because you're not looking at one thing. Like you were talking earlier about your journey, and the thing that struck me is you were working so hard at certain things at the expense of other things. And that was a lot to do with the conditioning that you had in your life. Yes. And understanding that, and really like connecting with yourself and finding out what is it that works for me and what does not work for me. And maybe this works for other people, but this is the way that I need to do it. You first took a holistic approach to your own healing. And now as the wounded healer, because you had those wounds that you went through, this is almost like a Chiron journey, or
it is.
That you can turn around and you can use that very process you went through to help others maybe identify that in their own lives. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. And it has really been a beautiful journey and a beautiful gift to see all of those layers. Like I've always dove deep. I've always explored my inner workings and wanted to know why I acted this way. Why did I do this? And the holistic approach, like it's how I spell it, is WHOL. So it's whole, complete, and full. And with my clients, I let them know first and foremost, that this is a journey together, and we are co-creating
I love that.
together to blossom your highest self. And to let them know that I'm always going to be honest with them and share from my truth and from my experiences. And just because I have been through a lot doesn't mean that I know it's going to be best for my client. And I let them know that too. I said, you're the only expert on you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And so we communicate a lot. We talk a lot. If they feel like this isn't really working, or they want to work more on this or more on that, like, we explore lots of options together. And through my journey, it's very interesting that I noticed that I have met clients who are currently in a situation that I have been in, or they have a family member or a friend who is going through something that I've been in as well. So yeah, it's been really beautiful to allow my journey to continue to be my teacher and teachers for others.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I mean, there was this old adage that says, never trust a cook that doesn't eat his own food.
Right.
And that's true. That's true about healing, I find too. If a person hasn't walked in your shoes, it's going to be very challenging for them, not impossible, but challenging for them to relate to what you're going through. And being that you've had your own journey of trials and tribulations and pain and suffering, you have come away with a lot of wisdom that you can share, and a lot of empathy towards what other people go through. And that's very, very important.
Yes.
That's really important.
And understand and to know that everyone has their own unique journey.
Right.
And to know that results don't happen overnight.
No.
Like, I mean, there can be something that jolts you and you wake up and you're like, all right, no more. Like, I'm done with that type of thing. However, there's a dance, within your journey. And I actually had a client ask me the other time I met with him, he's like, so are you like, have you just always just been like just this way and everything? And I'm like, I do have a past.
Right.
I do have a long story, and it's yeah.
None of us are, I think, that come to earth we're here to learn. I deeply, deeply believe that. I think this journey is more about learning. It's more about the journey than it is about any sort of destination per se. So I believe that very much. And I tend to trust imperfect people.
Yes. Yeah.
People that haven't, that have fallen down and gotten back up, or went one direction and bumped into a brick wall, and figured out, that to me, it speaks volumes.
Yes.
That's totally. The difference between knowing something and being wise about something, which is that's a distinction. It's an important one. So what kind of misconceptions do you think people have about what you do and what you offer?
A big misconception is people think that they have to be flexible. They think that it's going to be too hard. And they are too old.
Oh, okay.
I've gotten that a lot, or that it's just not for me. It's just not for me. Yoga is just not for me. Meditation is just not for me. And, to each their own and everything. And what's interesting is the majority of my clients are 70 and older.
Wow. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And, each of them have their own needs too. Like, just recently, I'm bringing in a younger clientele, which is interesting. And I love that I work a lot with the older population,
right?
Because like I'm 37 going on 87. Like that's how I feel. So it's really cool.
Well, Rachel, there's a lot to be said for that. Because I feel like older people a lot of times have the best BS detectors. And if they don't feel like you're for real, they're not going to follow. So that says a lot for you that they are invested in working with you because you're for real. And that's a big deal to I'm 50 something, and when you get to be that age, you just kind of done with what isn't real. You're done with the
very
game.
true.
Done with the games. So I take that as a very good sign that you're doing really good work.
Thank you. And I do have some clients that we also, and it's been interesting how like my personal fitness background is coming through again. Some of my clients want a little bit more physical fitness along with their yoga and meditation. So it's been really cool, like weaving that back in and pulling out all of my wisdom from those years and teaching them, how to gain a little bit more muscle mass, because none of my clients are like wanting to be bodybuilders. That's just not my specialty. I was never a bodybuilder. I'm not going to teach anybody how to be a fitness model or anything. I'm just finding homeostasis here. That's what we want. So it's just been really cool to share like a beautiful, well-rounded practice. Some of my clients, I do give some nutrition advice on. Some of them, they just have a pretty good diet themselves. And, there are a few things that can be cleaned up a little bit, So yeah, I haven't had strictly like only nutrition in a long time. However, majority of my clients, I share meditation in the water and yoga with. So
wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I think people want to feel better. I think we're kind of, I don't know, I feel like we're moving past this whole like bodybuilding. Most people are not interested in that. Most people just want to feel better. They want to function better. They want to feel better emotionally and physically, Yes. And so I think you're addressing something that's very, very important. I think you are. So where can we find you? You said Blue Lotus.
Yes. Blue Lotus, I'm there Monday evenings at 6. There's a beautiful group of people that come, and it's a gentle flow yoga class with meditation. And I almost always have some water there to share, because it's just, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to hydrate you with some living water. And sometimes I start my classes like with a little water blessing, and I'll just allow you to like speak into the water, whatever you feel called to speak, or just hold the water to your heart. And then, on Instagram at Holistic Elements, and Facebook, Rachel Morel. So yeah. And I just know that the folks who are aligning with me and feeling called to this energy, it's just, they're flowing in.
Yeah, they are.
I'm at the House of Light, I'm at the House of Light. I don't really do anything specific there. I just hold beautiful space and show up.
Well, I think you've done some education up there.
I have done some classes. Bit. Yeah, some education on the water and divine womb wisdom, and things like that. So yeah.
Well, Rachel, I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited for the people that get to work with you, because I know they're going to come away with just some beautiful wisdom, and just feeling your upbeat personality and your high frequency, and just your awareness, and you want to, your heart really is to help. Your heart really is to help people, and to help them to help themselves, which is what we all need these days. So I'm very excited for you and for what you bring to our community. So I'm going to ask you this question, ask everybody the same question. And, of course, this is all imaginary time, but let's just pretend for a minute. If you could live at any time in history, when would that be and why?
I love this question. And this is so cheesy. Now, honestly, like
Good answer.
I honestly can't think of any other place that I would rather be except to be right here, right now, experiencing all of this enlightenment and growth and revelation that is going on with humanity right now. It's so powerful. It is so powerful. And I'm truly blessed to be here right now on this earth.
That's a very, very good answer.
Thank you.
That's a good answer. I love that. That's true. Now is the best time ever, if you're in the now, right?
Yeah, if you had asked me that a few years ago, I would have a completely different answer. I'm here now.
She's here now. So everybody be here now.
Yes.
Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I know everyone's going to appreciate this interview. And you have yourself a beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.
Thank you, April. I appreciate it.
Bless you. Namaste.
Yeah.